What is karma, and is it connected with rebirth and reincarnation?
You are watching Reflections on Reality.
Discover the newest books from our collection: The Heart of Everything, a spiritual memoir, and Abhinava Vijayam, a dharmic magnum opus, both written by a gifted author, Kanchi.
See, karma is action. Karma is the cause of all activities. So to do anything, to any kriya, anything that you need to do, you need to have a intention, and that is the root of karma. So first the intention comes that okay, let's say I want to drink water. So we think first the intention comes that I want to drink water. I'm thirsty, and I say okay, I need a glass of water, and then I get up, I go out there, and I fill myself a glass of water and I drink. This is also karma, right? This is also kriya. More than karma, I can say this is kriya, but it is action. Now, what is the effect of this causation? The effect is that the thirst is quenched, right? So I drink water and my thirst is quenched. So this is what we do. So any desire arises in us, we say we want to quench the thirst of that desire. So we get up and we say, let's say, I have, I want to go out. I'm feeling hot inside. I want to go out and take a walk. So I get up, wear my shoes, and I go out for a walk, and I feel satisfied, right? So I feel comfortable. Yeah, I'm getting some fresh air. I'm getting some sunlight, and I'm happy about that. So the effect is happiness or satisfaction. The cause is this intention. So that I have intended to do that. But for this intention, before that, why does the intention arise? Because of desire. So only when we have desire, then this intention arises, and then we do. Now suppose what happens, generally what happens, let's say, I am not satisfied with that action. I'm feeling hot, I want to go outside and I want to take a walk. But when I walk outside, the sun is, shining down on me, and it's mid-afternoon and I'm feeling very hot. So now the desire is not being fulfilled. I wanted to relax, but instead of relaxation, I have become more stressed out because of the heat, right? It's very hot outside and I'm not able to feel comfortable. So this conflicting thing happens, and now I will not walk outside. And then I will say I will take my car and I will go further away. I will go into a park or like a village or something away from the city and try to get some fresh air and relax. So this again desire becomes a little stronger. So we can say we can divide this kind of desires or karmas into three parts. The first is a simple desire that we have. Let's say I want to eat a certain type of sweet. So then I go online and I go on the app and I book something and I get that sweet. So this is desire. Let's say I want to eat ice cream and I order something online and I get that ice cream. This is desire manifestation at a very basic level. I have the ice cream, I'm satisfied. So this kind of desire is like drawing a line on water. So like suppose we draw a line on water, and then what happens in the next moment, that line is erased because the desire has manifested, because it is a simple desire, right? I want to go to sleep, I want to take a nap. It is a simple desire. If I'm not working right now, I can take a nap. Nobody can stop me from taking a nap. So this is a line on the water. So this is done, right? So next what happens, I enjoyed that nap, but I want to do more of this. I want to sleep more, or I want to eat a lot of ice cream. So let's say I want to eat a lot of ice cream and I want to sleep for longer time. So now what is happening, the line on the water did not have that much repercussions on my mindset or on my body. Now let's say I want to do this daily and I want to do a lot of it. So a lot of ice cream means a lot of sugar. It's not good for you. We end up ruining our throat, our health. And then I want to sleep. I'm not able to work. So this starts having an effect on my day-to-day life, on my daily life. So this we can say is like a line on the sand, right? So the line on the sand that we draw can still be erased, but it stays there for a brief period of time, and it affects us. So the first line on the water does not affect us as much. It does not affect our mental health or our physical well-being and all these things, psychologically, whatever, right? But the second one, it troubles us a little bit more, the line on the sand. Now suppose the third thing is I want to make this my like aim in life or my goal in life, that I want to eat lots of I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to eat lots of ice cream and keep sleeping. This is unhealthy. It'll ruin our health completely. It'll ruin our relationships and all these things. So this is like drawing a line on a rock. When we say drawing a line, I don't mean drawing a line, but like etching a line in the rock. That stays for a long time. It affects us psychologically. So I'll give you a small example. Many people enjoy being in front of the camera. They want to like act and all this. So when we watch a movie, we see the actor, we see the hero romancing the heroine and all that. So most of us will watch and say, I wish I was that person. I wish I could beat up the villains and things like that. And we feel happy about it. That much joy is enough for us. That much enjoyment is enough for us. But there are some people there who say, I want to be that actor. I want to be that hero. I want to romance this heroine, this actress, and I want to have this kind of a life. I want what he has. Now, what happens with this desire? So it's not like drinking water. It's not like drawing a line on the sand or water. This requires you to change your entire lifestyle. You need to get fit. You need to have the connections. So this is not just desire. This becomes ambition. And this ambition needs a lot of working to do, a lot of things that need to be. So you might naturally not have those things. You might not have the looks needed to become let's say a mainstream hero. You might not have the connections. You might not have the money, or you might not have the talent. You might not know what it takes to be an actor like that, or the intelligence. But suppose you still want to do it, it can happen. It's not like it is not possible, but people do it. And this is what happens. This desire manifest in the pursuit of manifestation of this desire, their entire life changes. So if you go to Mumbai, you will find a lot of wannabe actors who were engineers, who were doctors, who were even IAS officers, like they were bureaucrats and all of these things. And then now they are trying to pursue this life. So their entire life has changed completely. And what happens to those people whose desire does not manifest? You know what I mean? Not everybody who just goes to Mumbai to become an actor or a star, can they all become stars? No. Most of them have these unfulfilled desires. And if they cannot do it in this lifetime, the desire stays. So that becomes etched onto the rock. So if not this lifetime, even at the time of death, they will not allow this desire to diminish. They'll say, no, maybe not this lifetime, I will do this again. And for this, I want to tell you, there's a beautiful story in the Puranas of a Chakravarti, of an emperor called Jada Bharata. So this Bharata was a great king. Even today, our country is called Bharata, Bharatavarsha, Bharata, based on this person's, his progeny were the kings, were the Bharatas, who we are named after, right? So they were the tribe of the Bharatas. So this Jada Bharata was a great emperor, he was a Chakravarti. So what happened with this person is he attained everything that he needed to do. He did the Rajasuya Yagnas, the Ashwamedha Yagnas. So he performed great Yagnas, great Vedic sacrifices to consummate his power. And he was, the whole of India and like other regions around India, they were all subordinated to him. He was a Chakravarti, great emperor. And after achieving everything that a man had to achieve, like a human being, what do you want? Money, that is wealth, power, fame, any kind of success. He was successful in his war and all these things. And all the wealth in the world, all the treasures of the world, the most beautiful women. He attained everything he had. And at that peak, he decided to give up his kingdom. He said, I have had enough. I have achieved whatever I wanted to achieve. Now he wanted to pursue spirituality. He wanted to pursue Brahma Vidya. So his goal was that I have achieved everything that is needed as a human being. Now that desire arose in him, saying, I want to attain, because he was not happy. In spite of all these things, that happiness was not yet there, that peace he had not found. So he knew best that even at that heights of success and fame, wealth, power, you cannot find happiness or peace. So his guru told him that in order to attain this, you have to, do tapas. You have to practice penance and attain yourself. So this man left the kingdom to his son and gave away everything he had to them, sacrificed everything, went into a forest, became like a hermit, a muni, called Bharata Muni. So Bharata Muni went and he started practicing austerities and all that. And he was, see, the thing is, he had the right intention, and he was a disciplined man. He was a great king. So anything he did it to perfection. So he was amazing at even these things, and he followed his guru's instructions to the T, and he very quickly he attained higher states of consciousness. And when he was in that stage, he had become an old man by then. And then one day he saw a small deer. He saw a deer being hunted by a hunter, right? And that deer, before dying, it got shot, and before dying, it leaped over a bush, and in that time, it delivered a fawn. It delivered a deer, and the hunter took it away. So he was very badly disturbed by this fawn's, this small young deer's life. And like, what kind of a destiny is this, that when it was being born, it lost its mother, and mother was killed by the hunter. So he took, suddenly that compassion arose in him for this deer, and he said, I need to take care of this deer. And he adopted the deer, and he started taking care of the deer. He would feed it daily. He would get milk for it, and all the food, and whenever he sat in meditation, he would always worry, as the deer had enough food. Is it safe? Is any hunter, or any like a tiger or something, roaming around? So he was always worried for this deer. He loved the deer dearly. So here was a man who had given up his wives, his children, right? The kingdom, all the pleasures of the world. And he had given up without thinking twice. He had attained that state of vairagya, that is detachment. A person like this, who had given up everything, fell in love with a deer, became attached to that young deer, and because of that deer, he was not able to attain the highest. He became attached. So even when he was dying, even in his dying moment, he suddenly was very worried for the deer. He said, after I die, he was not worried for his body or anything. His fear was, after my death, who will take care of the deer? So he was so attached to the deer that even at the time of death, he gave up his life thinking about the deer, right? So that is the story. That is the first half of the story of Jada Bharata. But now what happens? So when he dies, when he gives up his body, see, he should attain Indraloka or higher states, even if not moksha, right? Because he's done a lot of penance. But because of his desire, because of his attachment to deer, he was reborn as a deer, right? Because he wants to be in that vibration. He wants to find the deer. He wants to be in this vibration. But what happens when he takes another birth as a deer, and he realizes his fault? But it's too late. This great king, this great emperor is reborn as a mere deer, as an animal. But because, see, this is the beauty of karma. Everything you do is accounted for. Nothing is unaccounted for. So if you've done any punya in your life, any hard work you have done will never be wasted, right? And any theft, any bad thing you have done, that will always be repaid for. So if you owe somebody money, if not this lifetime, another lifetime, you have to repay that person. So it's called runa. Runa is like a debt. So we have to repay our debts. So it's not just financial thing. Somebody owes you something, they will again take birth to end up coming and giving you. This is how strong karma works. Anything in the world can fail, right? All the machines we create can fail. All these things can happen, but karma never fails. It is the accountancy of God. of divinity, right? So it's the account system created by God, and everything, all the ledger balances, everything is perfect in that. Anyway, so regardless of that, he was reborn as this, and he is called Jatismara. Jatismara is because he could do smarana of his jati, of his past lives, not just past life, past lives. And he realized that, I mean, he was already like almost a gnani, right? He had all that gnana of the past life and all these things, and he realized what fault he had done. The fault was falling in love, becoming attached to deer. He was reborn as a deer, but now he didn't want to waste this lifetime, and so he started spending a lot of time. He was in the forest with a lot of hermitages and all that. He would go into this, these areas where the rishis would do yagnas and homas and, spiritual activities. He would go and listen to the Vedas there. So even though he was a deer, he behaved like a sadhaka, like a spiritual seeker, and he did not give up that stream of consciousness. He always held very close. He held himself to that. And deer's lifespan is short, and he gave up his life as the deer. And now in his third lifetime, first it was Jada Bharata, and then as the deer. In his third lifetime, he was reborn in a Brahmin family. But he again had, it was a very, like what do you say, humble, meager family, nothing, not a powerful family. He chose this life because this was most appropriate for him to attain gnana, to finally consummate his, spiritual attainments. He wanted to attain this and be done with it. So, which is the best life at that time for him? He felt it was this family, and he took this. Even from childhood, he was aware. He was very well aware of all the things he had studied before and all his spiritual attainments. So he did not talk to anyone because he was afraid, if I talk, I will again become attached. So he never spoke to anybody, whether his parents, whether his teachers, his brothers, siblings. Everybody thought this person is stupid, right? They thought he's like a moron or something like that. That's where he got the name Jada Bharata. Jada means that which is inert. So to everybody, he looked like a lazy person because he had his favorite tree. He would go and sit under this tree, and he would always be lost in bliss. So whenever somebody saw him, they thought he's just being lazy. He's good for nothing. So his father did not put him through school, Gurukula system. He did not learn the Vedas the way others were learning the Vedas. He's already attained all that, but he did not showcase this to anyone. So when he's not being educated, he's not working, he's not bringing any money to the household, what would he do? So all the siblings put him to work. So if it has to be washing clothes, he would wash clothes of all these people, and any household chores, he would do everything without, complaining. He never complained, and this is the Chakravarti of Bharata, but he never showed that, and he always did his work, whatever was asked of him. And very soon, like time passed by, and his father passed away. Once that happened, his brothers threw him out of the house. So they didn't want, they were using him for manual labor, meager things. But because they were afraid that he will claim some property and some wealth, they threw him out of the house. But now he was free of all his, see the way his attainment was, his idea was this, in a way that he wants to have a life that is comfortable for spiritual emancipation. So he was released of, parental, like he didn't have to serve his parents through their old age as much. His brothers, he was freed. He was not married. He was not educated. The society didn't ask anything of him. So this man was freed from all these things, and he completely gave himself to spiritual attainments. He wanted to just meditate on the self and remain as Brahman. So when this was happening, one day he was sitting under a tree, and the king of that that kingdom was passing by, and these people, his servants, were carrying him on a pallaki. So one of the pallaki carry, you know what a pallaki is? Pallaki is like four people carry in a. It's called a litter. It's a type of a transport where before four men would carry a person sitting in that pallaki. The kings would be carried like this. So this one of the pallaki bearers was sick, so he was not able to carry, and he was tired or something. So they called this guy Jada Bharata to help. And this guy, he never says yes to anything or no to anything. And they just dragged him and said, the king is going, help us. And he also went, and he was carrying the palaki of this king. But because he was lost in, the bliss of the Atman, he was not carrying it well, right? He was lost. He was in a sort of samadhi. So then the king got angry. He's like, why is this palaki not being taken well? Because it started to shake a lot. And then once the king saw that, he saw that this person was not going with the other three properly. He was misstepping because of his whatever state. So he thought maybe he's drunk or he's not proper, and he kicked him. So, and he kicked him and he said, you fool, are you tired? Something like that. He scolded him. Can't you see I'm the king? Are you tired? Can't you see I'm the king? You fool, or something. He screamed at him. At that time, when he got kicked, this Jada Bharata spoke. He said, who is the fool and who is the king? Right? And who is tired and who is fresh? So this king in that moment suddenly realized that this person is not what he seems to be. So suddenly he had that awareness just by looking at him and hearing his words, that Shuddha Vak, clear words. He said, who is a fool? Is the body tired? Body is inert. How can it be tired? Is the soul tired? Soul can never be tired because it is the luminosity. So he explained beautifully to the king, all these things. So looking at that Jada Bharata, the king lost his equilibrium, immediately fell at his feet, and he knew that he was in the presence of a Gnani. And he begged his forgiveness and, got Diksha from him, and he also started on this path. So this is the story of Jada Bharata. Why I spoke about this thing is because it took him 3 lifetimes. For a person who is so highly accomplished, to attain the self, he took 3 lifetimes. And he went through so much suffering as Jada Bharata in the 3rd lifetime. And also living as an animal, living as a deer. He took the life of a deer and in the forest, all these things for one simple thing, having given up his entire kingdom, having given up everything. How karma works, right? And this is how reincarnation and karma are connected. So this is the life of a gnani. So imagine us lesser mortals, how the world works. There's another example, I'll quickly talk about it. In the Mahabharata, there is a person called Amba. So Amba, Ambika, Ambalika, these three princesses who are kidnapped by Bhishma. So Bhishma, who is like the scion of the Kuru clan, he kidnaps these 3 women and he wants them to get married to his, I think, stepsons, if I'm not mistaken. Stepsons, right? Not stepsons, stepbrothers. Stepbrothers or stepsons. Anyway, so he kidnaps these 3, but one of them is rejected, right? She is sent away. Not rejected, she is sent away. Let me briefly. Yeah, so Amba likes somebody else and she is sent back because she was not, so she could not accept this person as her husband. So now what happens? Amba's life is ruined because the person she loves, the king she loves, also does not accept her as his wife. So she becomes sort of like an outcast. The one she loves also dismisses her. And when she goes back to Bhishma, Bhishma also dismisses her and says, "No, I cannot accept you in our household because your heart has been smitten by someone else." So she becomes sort of an outcast. So she gets really wild. So in her, desire arises now for revenge, and revenge against Bhishma, right? So she wants to kill Bhishma at any cost. Because she believes that he is the cause of all her suffering, and she does a lot. Even in her life as Amba, she goes to Parashurama, who is considered like an avatar of Vishnu, to kill Bhishma. Even that doesn't work. So when that doesn't work, because Bhishma is his disciple, and that doesn't work, she gives up, immolates herself and gives up her life as Amba. Now again, this is another story. She takes another lifetime, and even in that lifetime, she fails. That entire life, she lives as a, as a tapasvi. She gathers, what do you say, ojas. She gathers spiritual strength in order to kill Bhishma. But even that lifetime is, her purpose is defeated. Finally, in a third lifetime, she is reborn as Shikandini. She is reborn as a woman. But now, even though she is reborn as a woman, as Shikandini, she cannot enter a battlefield and kill Bhishma, right? So then she goes through a sexual transformation, changes biologically, she becomes a man called Shikandi. And then finally in the war of Kurukshetra, she ends up, this Amba, who is now Shikandini, and then Shikandi, ends up finally killing Bhishma. So this is a very good example of desire manifestation. So for all those people who say, I will keep meditating, or I will keep repeating affirmations that I will be rich, or I will have this big house. It is very much true that these affirmations can come true, but we don't know the timeline, and we don't know the hardships that you might have to go through to attain this. Right? It could take you 1 lifetime, 2 lifetimes, 3 lifetimes. But finally, if you ask yourself, if you have to ask Amba about this, was it worth it? Was wasting 3 lifetimes worth it in order to kill Bhishma? So we have to ask ourselves whether it's worth it to take multiple lifetimes to achieve one desire, to achieve one goal. Because finally, why do we desire? Because we think that makes us happy.
And also we can question what is that goal. If it's something like spiritual enlightenment, then it's worth it. But materialistic gains.
See, the thing with spiritual attainment, or what we say moksha, this is permanent, right? It's not something that comes and goes. The truth is not something that arises in the future and then disappears. If it is coming in the future, then it's not the truth. The truth is that which is there from before, in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. It doesn't change. So if it's coming now, then it's not worth attaining, because again it will disappear. Because if you see the world, anything that arises has to fall. So suppose we say we are manifesting desire for a house will come, but then you will be separated from the house. You will see a beautiful woman, you want her, but at one time it has to be separated. This is a very common pattern, and the whole world is running on karma. So people are taking births because of unfulfilled desires, past life desires. They wanted to lead a certain way, they could not lead. Now again they come, and it might not be good for them, inimical to their life, but they want to attain those things. So that's why we will even see people being born in like rich families, powerful families, and a person born in a poor family will look at that person and say, how is he born? This guy gets everything for free. For example, so he says this person gets everything for free. He's driving amazing cars, he has servants, he's living in a big house, right? So the poor person is jealous of him or is angry with him and says he doesn't deserve it. Maybe I deserve it because I'm struggling, but why does he deserve it? We never know what that person's journey is in the past. He was this poor person one day, right? And he has come. And just by desiring, you don't attain. Just because we desire something doesn't mean. So all the affirmations you say, I want to be rich, I am rich, doesn't mean that you will just become rich. You will find ways to become rich, or you will find ways to become powerful, to attain something. Without action, without kriya, without action, karma is kriya. That which is in motion is karma. Karma is not stagnant. So if you are without being in motion, without doing something about it, nothing is attained in the world. So even in our Shastras, Brahma creates the world. It does not just arise from nothingness and disappear into nothingness, right? The Brahma Tattva, the creator might arise from the consciousness, but it's not nothing. There is a process of creation, right? In the same way, anything you want to achieve in life, anything in this life or the next life, whatever it is, you have to work for it. Nothing comes free. So karma is that. So a person who is born in a rich family, for example, I'm just giving an example, he has worked very hard in some lifetime to attain. So maybe he died very rich in the past life and he was already in that vibration. So now that he has taken this birth, it's very unlikely that he will be born in a poor family. If he desires so, he might be born. The situation arises, he might be born, and again he might attain this if he seeks to do this, right? And so there is something called punya and papa. Sat karmas, that karma which does not stick, that karma which elevates you, that karma which takes you upwards, ascension, is called sat karma. That karma which makes you fall, that karma which shrinks your consciousness, is called dur karma. It's bad karma. These karmas, these negative karmas, will keep pushing us. So jealousy, hatred, like Ambalika. Amba is a good example of her lifetime, how her life went. She lived in hate and revenge and this kind of mentality for so many lifetimes, right? It is hell because you're burning in that rage. So it is not 3 good lifetimes; it's 3 horrible lifetimes, right? So satkarmas are like, first thing is intention. From with what intention are you doing this activity, right? So for example, I'll tell you, there is a doctor who's got his, he has his surgical instrument, right? What knife, surgical knife, and there is a some madman on the street who's filled with rage, right? He has got a knife in his hand. Now the doctor ends up killing his patient by mistake. He is trying to save that person's life, but he ends up not being able to save his life. He has used the same sharp blade, but that person has died. And the person, the madman who is filled with rage, he enters a mall and he ends up stabbing people with a knife. But nobody dies. So who has sinned and who has done a good thing, satkarma, in this? Is the doctor a sinner or that madman who has not killed anybody? So if you see the activity, final act is what? One person lost a life in the doctor's hands, on the doctor's operation table. And then on the other side, what happened? 4 people, 5 people, 10 people did not die. They are injured, but did not die. What's a worse crime? Anybody with a logical mind will say, obviously, the terrorist or the person with a knife who went killing innocent, trying to kill. Why? What is the reason? Because his intention was to hurt, whereas the doctor's intention was to heal. The doctor wanted to save the life, and not that he has mismanaged or something. He wanted to save the life, he wanted to heal the person, but it died. So it is never finally the action. It is never just the action. It is the intention behind the action, right? This is why most people misunderstand karma. Most people misunderstand karma yoga. They say Krishna during the Mahabharata war incited Arjuna to unleash violence on his own relatives. That was to protect dharma. Arjuna was already on the battlefield. Now on the battlefield, they are not saying, this is my brother, this is my cousin, this is my uncle, this is my aunt. He had to fight for his cause. And if he does not, his soldiers who are depending on him, his kingdoms, his people, his brothers, his family, they're all depending on him. So coming to the battlefield and saying, I will not fight anymore, is not satkarma. It is negative karma. Means it's not just cowardly, because of you, many people will die. Many people who trust you, who depend on you to protect them, will die. So that is a far worse sin, is people who you are supposed to protect, you do not protect them and they end up dying. That's a far worse sin than fighting those people who have come to kill you. Right? So this is the concept of karma. The intention is what? A Kshatriya's dharma is to fight, right? Arjuna's dharma in the battlefield is to fight. It is not to run away. They have tried everything else before that. They have tried diplomacy, they have tried friendship, they have tried everything, right? That when that did not work, under the Kshatriya rules, he was made to come to the battlefield and fight a battle. Similarly, you have to do your dharma. So as a doctor, the doctor's main job is to save the patients. He was doing that. So what are the karmas now? What I was telling you, satkarma. What are the good karmas that ascend, that take you upwards, that generate punya in you? Compassion, kindness, love, right? These kind of things, you want to help somebody, you don't want to hurt anybody. Ahimsa, not having any sense of violence in you. Anybody who comes to you should be benefited. These kind of magnanimity, this kind of love for all beings, this will help you ascend. And working hard. to achieve those whatever goals like that. But what are the things that we all know? What are the things that pull us down? Jealousy, hatred, anger, and more actions when they are soiled by these emotions, they will keep taking you. They will make you heavy. Basically, heavier you are, you shrink. Your consciousness shrinks, and then let's say you're born in a certain way. Next lifetime, this lifetime itself will be bad. You will undergo depression, sadness, anger, mental issues, anxiety issues, all these things. And future births also will be, because how you the way you sow the seed, that's how the fruits will be sprouted finally, right? The plants will come based on your the way you depending on the seeds you sow. It's very simple as that.
So it's only natural that we get all kinds of desires. So then in this case, how does one react or act on those desires that arise?
Very good question. So now when we see karma, let me just explain what this is. So every action produces a reaction, right? So every action, let's say anything you do in this world is producing an action, reaction, and that is your Agami. Means those are the fruits you have to eat in the future. And now what fruits are you consuming now? These are the fruits of the past. And we are not talking about this lifetime or what you did yesterday or day before. We are talking about lifetimes and lifetimes of karmas, lifetimes of karma. So these are called Sanchita karma. Sanchita karma is that karma which is preserved, which is stored, right? So the debt we end up repaying, or the karma that we have to undergo, is a millionfold. So what we are experiencing right now is only something called Prarabdha. Prarabdha is if you see the ocean, or if you see the grains of sand on a beach, and you pick up one grain of sand, that is called Prarabdha. In God, because He is merciful, He is not letting you go through the entire fruits of all the actions. Imagine all the stuff we have done in all the lifetimes, and all these things come at you together. Is it possible for one person, for an individual, to deal with it? I'm talking about, just think of it in a way of consciousness. Your subconsciousness carries so much, so many fears, so much mental baggage, so many things are there in your subconsciousness. What comes in the consciousness? Only one thought, right? One basic thing in this moment. Okay, we are afraid, or we get angry, or we feel anxious about something, or we get agitated about something. These are all just a minuscule of the Sanchita karma, right? So you can say the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind is filled with all the tendencies from, so what we call predispositions, samskaras. So these are all from thousands and thousands of lifetimes. Buddha speaks about this beautifully. He says, if you collect the bones, the skull and bones of all the families that I loved once, all my loved ones, there'll be more than the Himalayas, the entire range of the Himalayas. There'll be that many people I have loved. For that many people, I have cried, and I have been so attached to them. And he says, if you collect all the tears I have shed for these people, for all these people, it will be more than the oceans of the earth. So he says that's how much tears I have shed for them, and how many people I have loved, right? So God, in His infinite mercy, has made us forget all these things. Just being attached to few people in our lives today, we are anxious about their well-being. We are so bothered about all these things, right? So this is called Sanchita and Prarabdha. Sanchita is all that stored thing, and Prarabdha is what we are going through now, what we are enjoying now. Bhuktatva. Bhuktatva is enjoyment of good and bad, of eating bitter fruits, eating sweet fruits. Now all the actions that from there and today is going to come in the future called Agami. Called Agami karmas, means the ones that are yet to come. Right? So if you see this pattern, it's never ending. How do you end this? There is never end. So the concept is not punya. I will help some people, I will be good to some people. Right? So the idea is not I'll be good to some people, I will help some people, I will heal some people, or I will do something that will make me get good merits in this lifetime. Because merits also tomorrow, it is cause for another birth. So desire, so what is the root? See, what is the main cause of births? This samskaras and all we're saying. But main cause of birth is, first is desire. If you give up desire, then what are you going to take a life for? We take this body because through this body is an instrument for enjoyment. Through this body, through the five senses, we want to enjoy. We want to see good things. We want to hear good things, good praise about us. We want to feel good about ourselves. We want to embrace of a woman. All these things are just, to enjoy, we have taken this birth. But the instrument is so flawed, right? Disease, death, old age, and we are trying to, enjoy through this body filled with all these problems. So the concept itself is flawed. So the only way is to turn the mind on itself. So for whom the desire arises, everything is desire manifestation. Because of desire, the whole universe has arisen. Right? To end desire, we cannot just end desire and say, I don't want to desire anymore. Because why are we desiring? Who is desiring? Why do we want to manifest our desires? What is the reason that we want to manifest our desire? For whom? To make us happy. So the main idea is happiness. But who wants to be happy? I want to be happy. Now, how will I be happy? If I become a movie star, will I be happy? Will I tomorrow be born in a rich family or powerful, whatever? If I become the, king of the world, will I be happy? You know what I mean? So happiness is our intrinsic nature. Till we understand, till we realize for whom we want to be happy, we cannot attain happiness. Till then, we will be roaming around, taking birth after birth. So it's never ending. As long as we keep running behind desires, we will continuously keep taking more births. And depending on our karmas, it will be higher births, better lifestyle, better life, or higher births, as in taking birth in different, higher planes of existence, or lower planes of existence. That we call Swarga and Narka. Narka are like hells, and we don't have one Narka. We have a lot of Narkas. We have 7 hells, right? Atala, Pathala, Vitala, Talatala, Rasatala, and one more. I forget the names, but there are basically a lot of lower dimensions which are not very good. And then there is the animal life, taking birth as an animal. There are many. See, our Puranas are full of stories of reincarnation. They are full of stories, and even today, there are many people. Like scientific study is done on reincarnation, and these people remember, where they were born in past life. They go back to those homes. They go talk to their wives from the past life. Full of these stories. So it is. There is a lot of study based on this. So even our Puranas talk about this. So it's never ending. The idea is simple. This Jagat, this existence is never ending. This samsara, it's never ending. As long as you are desiring, as long as you are with the false notion that I am this body, I am this person, I am this jiva, you will always suffer. And what is samsara? Is suffering. Samsara is another word for suffering. This body itself is disease. Because what happens? You are always attached. You love your parents, you love your wives, your children, your family, you are attached to them. And what you are attached to gives you suffering, because you have to be separated from it at one time. Sometime you have to be separated. And while before separation also, you are constantly worrying about well-being of all the things you are attached to. Whether you are attached to an inert thing, like Jada Bharata was attached to that deer. Even if you are attached to your car, you are constantly thinking, how do I, take care of my car? It doesn't have to be people also. So samsara is another name. Samsara is Jagat, is this life, is another worldly existence, is another name for suffering. It is suffering with pauses of little joy. So suffering, it sounds pessimistic, but you know what I mean. There are. I'm not telling there is no joy in existence. There is, but it is superseded by more amounts of you losing, because no man comes out of this existence, happy, saying, "Oh, I have attained everything. I'm very happy." You lose more than you gain in this world. So that is the thing. Finally, we have to understand that this is never ending. So we're not worried, we're not afraid of life, we're not afraid of death. Finally, we are afraid of being reborn again. Right? We have to take birth again go through the same cycle of life and death, life and death. So to end it, we have to end desire. To end desire, we have to understand who is desiring, who is this I who is desiring. This is called Atmagnana. We will talk about this in another video or something. But final answer is Atmagnana. And what is the method, the best method? We have already discussed this. The best way to know yourself is through Atma Vichara, through self-inquiry. We have to look at ourselves, we have to ask who am I, and go to the root of this question and try to find out who is this I who is suffering. Is he suffering? Why is he suffering? Who is this I who is suffering?
Or who is the I that has this desire?
Yes, who is this I who has a desire? Why are you desiring? So go to the root of it. Come back. Find that root cause of. That is the root cause of suffering. Life itself is not suffering. This I going through life is suffering. Right? So when you find the root of this I, you will find the fountain of joy. You will find that which makes life enjoyable, blissful. Life doesn't have to be suffering. You will suffer as long as you are attached. You will suffer as long as you are living with the ignorance that I am this body, I am this person, I am this individual, and I have to do these things in order to be happy. The truth is simple. The truth is not complicated. You have to find that truth to find happiness, and that is the way to end karma. So they say, like Buddha says, so much karma is there, thousands and thousands, and there are mountains of karma. Even if entire lifetime we, let's take a grain of sand, and one lifetime is a grain of sand. Just in a beach you will find so much sand. So you have to go through all these things. But they say, if you make mountains and mountains of this karma, how do you vanquish it? The answer is very simple. The mountains are made of camphor. So you burn it in one place, the whole thing burns. Combust immediately. So you don't have to sit and keep reducing so much karma daily or something like that. It is the answer, the antidote to karma, the antidote to suffering, the antidote to all these things is Gnana. Gnana is Atma Gnana. Knowing the truth about yourself. Once you know who you are, automatically all these false notions disappear. There is no karma, there is no birth, there is no rebirth, there is no jiva. All these notions by themselves, they will disappear. Right?
If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. And thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.